What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Boover Crew. And today we're going to continue our series of how to hunt whitetail deer. So far, we have already talked about methods, tactics, and our location of where we want to do it. I've also talked about bedding areas and travel routes a little bit, and I want to touch on that more in a future episode because I can go into a whole lot more detail. But today I want to do a little bit different. I want to talk about the top 5 things that every hunter should have in their backpack when going deer hunting. So let's get started. First off, every hunter should have a pair of binoculars. I've heard it been said, and I've even been told this, why would you need a pair of binoculars? Especially if you're hunting in the woods, you're only going to see 50 yards. Why would you need a pair of binoculars? Well, I've also heard a lot of stories about guys shooting deer that they thought were legal, but weren't legal because they couldn't see it quite well enough and they didn't know what quite they were shooting at. Binoculars are a huge help and huge advantage when hunting because not only can you pick out the legal deer, whether it's an antler limit or if it's an antlered or antlerless deer. It helps you get familiar with your surroundings. You can do glassing and spotting. I've spotted a lot of deer in the woods, like 100, 200 yards away, that I couldn't see with the naked eye, but I could see this because I'm standing there and I'm scanning very slowly through the woods and picking out, I can pick out a deer between these two trees that I couldn't have seen with my eyes. It kind of brings me to my second one when I'm deer hunting. It doesn't matter, even again, if I'm archery hunting or gun hunting, I always bring a rangefinder. Now, if you're gun hunting, firearm hunting, it doesn't matter as much because you kind of have a little bit more leeway, but definitely when I'm archery hunting, I never leave home without it. I did forget my rangefinder one time and I kind of freaked out. Luckily, I actually didn't see any deer that day, but I freaked out when I forgot this. I'm not the best at judging yardages, so having a rangefinder is a lifesaver, especially when you're going to make an ethical shot. You do not want to mess up on that range. Deer, whitetail deer in particular, have an exceptional sense of smell. Well, one of the things, since they have very good sense of smell, is I always want to bring some scent killer. It doesn't have to necessarily be scent killer. It could be dead downwind scent killer. It could be like the scent lock things. Having a spray bottle of some sort of scent killer is a huge advantage, especially when you're going into an unpredictable wind or an unpredictable weather. But like I said, this is an advantage when you're going into the woods. Having something that will mask your scent is one step closer to maybe having a chance at that monster buck that you've been chasing. Now, I know it may sound silly, but there are actually a lot of guys out there that don't carry these two types of things. I always carry a knife and a tree saw. The reason I carry a knife and a tree saw, well, first, I always want to be able to gut my deer. Also, it makes the skinning process a lot easier when I already have the animal dressed. Two, like I said, I always bring a tree saw or some sort of saw because it's important, especially for me. This year, I actually went to a couple areas that I had never hunted before, just trying to make something happen. And a tree saw was very important going in there because I needed to cut a few limbs, cut some shooting lanes, and clear space where I could sit down. This one right here, $10 at Tractor Supply, an Ameristep tree saw. It's got a nice grip. It's rubber, and it does the job well. It's like a, I don't know, 6-7 inch blade. It does good. My knife is a K-Bar knife with a leather stack handle. K-Bar makes a handful of different hunting knives, but they're a huge knife brand, but they make a lot of different hunting knives. This particular one, I don't remember which one but this one is, I mean, sexy. This is a hot looking knife. Very, very polished blade and everything. Like I said, leather stack handle, kind of a brass little thingy there. The things I like about this knife, which you should look for in a knife, I'm going to go on a little rant here, rabbit trail. I like this knife because, one, it has a convex blade right here, which makes it very nice for skinning. So I'm going down. It's very nice for skinning. It has a very fine point here, so when I'm going in, I can cut that skin open right there at the belly lining when I start the field dressing process. Then it has the gut hook, which makes the field dressing process a breeze, and it's an absolute beautiful knife. I've never used it, though. I've used knives that have gut hooks and things like that before. I mean, this knife is just awesome. I can't wait to use it. Now, technically, we did 6 items today, but the knife and the saw are kind of put together. But the 5th/6th item of the day that I want to talk to you guys about is some sort of peg. Now, this right here is the Easy Hanger, the largest Easy Hanger that they make. The reason I love Easy Hanger is because of the extendable and collapsible, foldable, whatever you want to call it, ability. and I can screw it into a tree back here, and then I can swing this in a lot of different ways and get that, my weapon of choice, right where I need it. But back to my point, using pegs is very important for any hunter, no matter if you're hunting in a tree stand or if you're hunting on the ground. For one, if I'm hunting in a tree stand, having the big easy hanger like this is good for my weapon. Two, I have a second easy hanger that I like to hang calls or miscellaneous equipment on, as well as a camera bag. I like to use that. And then third, I always have some sort of like one of those foot pegs that I use. I use that to hang my backpack. Backpack's kind of a heavy piece of equipment, so having a sturdy peg right in there, that's very nice, and it's right behind me. It's right there where I need it. I always carry those 3 pegs, as well as multiple other pegs. You never know when you're going to need a peg. I always bring those with me. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you found it helpful. And if you want any of the gear that I showed you today, there will be links at the very top of the description. You can go check them out. All this gear is the gear that I use and that I recommend. This is my opinion of what the top 5 things / 6 things that you should use when you are out whitetail deer hunting. So that's going to wrap it up today. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. I hope to see you in the next video. We'll see you later.